Hey, Curt, it's the weekly roundup. How's it going over there?
It's good. I don't think I've showered in 2 or 3 days, so it's perfect. I'm wearing a hat, and man, what a big time saver, not showering. Who knew?
I know, I haven't shaved. I basically look like Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future, or Jim from Taxi, whatever you want to call it. It's, my hair's everywhere. It's crazy. I saw this social media thing, and it said basically, my life has turned into being like in Las Vegas. Everyone's drinking all the time. No one knows what time it is, and we're all running out of money.
Yeah, and you're getting forgetful because you read that last week.
Did I read it? See, there you go.
Yeah, but that's okay. Leave it in because people will know this is how nutty you're getting.
Yeah, so. This is the problem. And I went out for a big walk this morning, staying at least 10 feet away from everyone. My head should be clear, but no,
no joggers came by you.
No jog. Joggers. There were a couple, but they stayed their distance, thankfully. So
Good.
We'll leave it there. So yeah, there's still news for COVID and stuff. So this is the one I thought that was kind of interesting. I think this is in Coverager, and they talked about the reason why people started hoarding toilet paper. And it's an interesting thing. You really have to understand the paper industry. And clearly, the paper industry has a personal a personal side, right? They produce toilet paper that people go out to supermarkets, stores, and buy for themselves to take home. But now that we're all at home, we don't go to the office and use the toilet. So it's the supply side has changed. So there's actually a logical reason why people are gathering toilet paper.
Well, and on top of that, they're not at the office, and so they don't have time to, jam it in their bags on their way home at the end of their shift. So clearly they had to buy their own.
I don't know where you used to work, but I will say the toilet paper at some of the offices I've been at has been less than desperate times require desperate measures, but I didn't want to bring that parchment paper home.
Yeah, I'm with you. That single ply is not pretty, I'll tell you, but hey, desperate times call for single ply toilet paper, I guess. But at this point, let's hope that these stores out there start to replenish their supplies, because I did catch in the news this week another municipality. I'm trying to remember, it was national news. So in Canada, where they showed the sewer system all plugged up from people using things other than toilet paper.
Throwing their Lysol wipes down as they wipe toilet seats and stuff. Bad idea, guys.
Yeah, rubber gloves.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, and, on that same topic of, insurance and changing times with COVID, changing times, changing your toilet paper is how we brought up last couple of weeks ago, Aviva and the dentist coverage, the 3-tier type coverage they have, triple guard, I think they called it. Jason Stora, Canadian underwriter, says they're covering it, the dentist, obviously each claim being unique and different in each jurisdiction, but kudos to Aviva.
Yeah, that's a huge step, right? And, they looked at the gray area, and frankly, if you've got a gray area right now, is this the time you want to hold firm, or do you want to find some other ways and give a value proposition of look, we paid out. And we can all remember the floods in Alberta when all the direct writers, the TDs and stuff, weren't paying anything out, and the bad press they got from not even offering a nickel. This is the kind of time where you earn a lot of goodwill with people when you follow through on what the underlying promise is, even if there is a gray area or potentially an opt-out. Good on them. And they did something else cool too, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, in addition to coming forward on the dentist program, they've as well stepped up with another $500,000 to Canada Red Cross, which I see, back in the fires in BC. I see there's, if you Google it, you'll see another 100,000 they donated at that time. I mean, Aviva has, kudos to them, really been on their game here in the last 60 days.
They've always been a forefront, a leader and at the forefront of charitable giving and finding ways to get embedded into communities and such. And this is no different. So great time for them to step up to the plate and do what, not needs to be done, but what we hope responsible corporations can do. And that is help out where it is. Because again, marketing yourself isn't cheap, and you can get a lot of goodwill by doing some things that maybe save you a few bucks, but you do the right things as well.
So because it's not just an Aviva love off here, we do have other insurers in our province, in our country, across the U.S. that our listeners and brokers support. So if you do have an insurer or a broker just made a significant donation or a donation to some type of charity, chime into our new Facebook page.
Oh yeah, go to the Facebook page.
Insurance Podcast Show. Chime in onto LinkedIn, the Insurance Podcast Show, and please comment to us so that we can give kudos to those who are doing a great job.
You know what? And not just insurers, anyone, agents, brokers, you name it. Anyone in the insurance channel is doing something special. Ideas. The more ideas we can get out there and let people hear of, who cares if it's if you're copying it? It's never copying. It's someone's paying homage to you. Let's use this incredible industry that we have that cares to take those good ideas and get them everywhere that we can help people in need, because that's what insurance is all about. Even when there isn't
plagiarism is the best form of flattery, right?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
I mean, I think when we were in the insurance business, Deb and I think, like 90% of the brokerages in Manitoba copied us. So, I mean, kudos to them to figure out how we were doing it so that they could be as successful.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little bit of sarcasm there, but yeah.
Oh, I know. But there's doing a lot of things. The other thing that's come up, and this is something that's being talked about, but it's not being thrown to the forefront of topics, and that is payment amnesty or payment forgiveness for clients of agents and brokers. And how do you manage that? A lot of brokers run their own premium finance programs. A lot of them have clients with large policies that they've worked out a payment plan for, whether it be 3 payments, 4 payments over a year. How do you work with your clients now when they say, I've got to put a halt on this? This is a very tricky situation, because at that point you can't cancel them, because the contract is with the insurance company and you've already paid the insurance company.
And familiar with it, having ran one, that the interest that's accumulating often is backed up by a line of credit from one of our great banks in the country. And the banks are, to some degree, stepping up for some of this stuff, but not really in any significant way that would allow the independent business owner to stop cash flow entirely. So, interest only on payments. Well, but if it's a couple $1 million, interest only is still a lot of money. Deferred interest, but then interest on the interest. So how do you collect from that policyholder? Even if the bank does give you terms on your line, how do you extend their terms and then all of a sudden come back and say to them later, and oh, by the way, now you owe me an extra $200 because that's what the bank charged me to give you relief.
Yeah, exactly. It's a complicated situation, because typically brokers some of them have scale and they can offer credit. They're not designed to offer credit indefinitely when all the payments stop coming in. They're still an operational thing, because essentially they're just recapturing that money, taking a small cut of it, and repurposing it back to the insurance company or filling their own coffers that they paid from already. It's not as simple as just saying, yeah, we can do it. Because what if you have to do it for 1,000 clients?
Now, our major sponsor likely is on the phone, talking with insurers, trying to figure out, hey, if we can get a 120-day delay versus the normal, 60, 90, maybe then we could somehow backfill that into a 30, 60-day payment deferral.
And this is the time where, when you're dealing with your clients, you got to have really honest, transparent conversations with them about this issue. It's, and particularly if you're coming up to someone who's coming up for renewal in the next 60 to 90 days, you need to be talking to them now, really reviewing that coverage. You've got, large commercial clients, diverse operations, depending on what they do. Do they really need the same policy again? And you got to warn them about this probability of, hey, there could be an ask of you, and you need to investigate all the different government availability of options that are available. And we know right now, because of the media, that both the governments in Canada and the United States are just pumping money in like it's just flowing over like Niagara Falls. but yet the friction points to access it are still there. We're hearing the large numbers, 2 trillion in the States, 120 billion in Canada. We're hearing these huge numbers, but the realities for them is that there's still a lot of complexities to access the money, and they need that.
And I think Canada did come out early swinging here when we still had low numbers. And yeah, Quebec and Ontario are different, I guess, but then our population obviously a lot different. The challenge now is because we came out early with a solution to slowing down COVID, is that this is going to last here a lot longer. That the tail, because we all started to sit at home quicker, let's say, for just a basic way to sum it up, the time that people are going to be without income could be a lot longer than other places that maybe they waited longer to advise people to stay home. So people who did work that extra week, 2-3 weeks, put some extra money in the bank. Canadians, we've been sitting at home now for already 2.5-3 weeks.
Yep.
And, we're in a jurisdiction here where we've got just over 200 cases. So it is going to be tough, Pete. I think brokers, if this podcast just boils down to talking about money, then we could probably say that's the message out to our listeners, that as a brokerage force, get on the phone, because it's not going to end that soon. And insurers have to be part of the solution with the brokerage, because the consumer here is not going to have money. End of story.
Exactly.
And they will just go without insurance.
And exactly.
Do I feed my kids or do I have house insurance?
Yeah.
Well, I'm at home all the time. I guess if there's a fire, I will take a hose and put it out.
Yeah.
There's basic mentality, right? What are you going to pick first?
Yeah. You're going to pick food on the table. You're going to pick having the lights on, and insurance is going to come way later. That being said, we have some insurance companies who have really stepped up to the plate, though. And there's a few on both sides of the border that are doing some interesting things when it comes to renewals, cancellations and stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think Geico is one. They just announced that they're going to be really lenient on cancellations and non-payment when people have defaulted on, say, a monthly payment or an installment payment. I know in Canada we have public auto, which is a bizarre thing for our friends in the U.S., but our home province here, Manitoba Public Insurance, they have been ordered by the government, because they are owned by the government and the people, to find a way to address people who can't make renewals, who can't make their payments and not cancel them. There's a need that people need their cars right now, and the government has ordered them to find a way. I suspect, when you have a monopoly like a public insurer, or you have scale like Geico, it's probably a little easier to do, no? I
would think that at this point, if you were the general public and you were looking at your insurance and hoping that who you picked to protect your assets was going to be there to help you, that let's say that at this point, the larger players hopefully are better financed. And knowing that, then hopefully they extend that along to their customers during this time. And everybody come July, August, September, when they start to go back to work to some degree or work in a full capacity and money starts flowing again, then those insurers can put those people back on track again in a payment plan.
Yeah, that's what we hope for. I think the biggest threat in this is when you look at the broker side, when you look at the agency bill side, and obviously if you're a larger insurer, how do you recapture what's already lost? That's the interesting point. Where does it double up? So if you miss 3 months of payments and maybe your job doesn't come back online, it takes a little longer for the company, for the economy to kick in. How do you recapture those lost payments? I think that's the next issue that's going to come to the front once we sort of get back to a semi-normal world, is where do we capture those?
25-year mortgage that now has become a 26-year mortgage. Yeah. Your house policy or your commercial policy is only a 1-year commitment. How does that insurer find a way to gather back those missed premiums? That's a great question. Yeah. Great question. And not put a huge stress on the policyholder. So let's put our creative minds together, folks. And again, message back to social media using those various channels that Insurance Podcast has. We like to hear your thoughts on ways to fix some of these problems and I think sharing of ideas is the key here to get us down this path. So,
yeah. Well, that's all we can hope for. So we want to hear some of those success stories, some innovative ideas. Share them with us. We'll get them out to everyone too. There's no time to hoard your good ideas. We need everyone stepping up and helping out everyone. There's only one way to get through this, and that's together, but at a safe distance.
Correct. And with a decent amount of martini recipes so that we don't run out.
And if you've developed a quarantini or anything fun, let's share that too. You got a picture of some great drinks, send it to us. We'll hit the Facebook page, the Insurance Podcast Show, and put them up there. Let's see what you've got. This could be fun too. We got to get through this, folks, and anything helps.
Okay, Dr. Caesar, it's back to you.
Yeah. Nice one, Dr. Caesar. Talking to you, Jeff Roy.